Apparently YouTube. Let me see. I'm about to go to YouTube. I ain't get notification on YouTube yet.
Don't tell me the fucking key is wrong. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be because I made sure it was right.
There you go. I just got the notification.
All right.
Well,
It might have the wrong. It's gonna have the wrong picture and all that, but that's fine.
Yeah, we up there.
Is up there YouTube working?
What up, though? Yeah, YouTube working. Unified Thrive, y'all. Don't forget that.
Boom.
Since we in here, Unified Thrive, y'all.
All the things. All the things. We in here. This is actually 75.5. In between season 3 and 4, and we about to hit y'all with the part 2 of the Dr. Umar and Nick Cannon beef.
Man,
it's not,
comments was kind of the comments on TikTok and YouTube was all over the place, man.
Was the comments commenting?
Yeah, we're commenting. It was a very highly engaged clip session. You know what I mean?
What was the consensus?
Before we get started up, it was literally down the middle. You know what I'm talking about? Half was like, yeah, I'm with Umar, do that shit. And then the other half was like, man, you ain't even married. You ain't even, I mean, why you dick riding or all the, dick watching.
Dr. Umar, right?
Yeah.
Dick watching. That's Nick Cannon's dick. Why you on his dick? Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Man, it's crazy. I was about to say before we get started, he about to play the fit real soon. We about to get back into it. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know what I'm talking about? If you're watching this video, like it. If you know us on TikTok, follow us. If you see us on Instagram, follow it. You know what I mean? If you fucking with the Rumble, check us out there too. We got some good stuff coming. Go to the website, figureshxtout.com. Put your name in the newsletter, right? You can be abreast of what's coming your way. We got a podcast Jamie coming. We got some tech learning stuff coming. You know what I mean? Frank got that book coming. Loose Perspective jumping on. Go follow that page. You know what I mean? All that good stuff, all that good jazz. And Frank, how you feeling today? You all right? You ready?
I feel great. Yeah, no, I'm good. I got on the treadmill for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Got back into the trying to get fit again. Yeah. So I feel woke.
Get fit again.
Getting fit again. You know, I have my moments in life. I don't work out for years and then I work out, so I'm back on it.
God.
It is what it is.
Never had a year where I haven't worked out. Ever since I've started being physically fit, I don't think the longest I've been was like a month maybe.
Everybody to each his own. But you ready to jump in? You ready to jump in this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Pause that. No Diddy.
New Diddy.
No Diddy. All right, so let me make sure you can hear. We left off probably like 11, 12 minutes last time.
We started talking shit.
So we're going to kick it off right there. You should be able to hear it. And I don't know where we left off. I don't know. Let's just jump in.
It's right there, yeah.
Oh, fuck, I can't hear shit now.
I can't hear it.
No, I can't hear it.
Technical difficulties. We still rocking though.
I know. Hold up. It's because I got that tab muted.
As I have for Onyx, as I have for my Otis Monroe.
I believe that.
And in that sense, it's unfortunate. For Onyx, as I have for my, I feel like we're the only community that has to deal with complexionism at this level. And
but white supremacy introduced that into us.
Because there's the caste system and the class system that's in India. That's
right. But caste, that is true. That is true. But who introduced that into India? They were like colonized by the British.
They were.
All right. So I'm gonna say something.
Already. What's up?
It is. It's fine. Umar's not wrong, right? When he talks about white supremacy and the introduction of complexionism, understand 100%. I agree. But do we have to continue that though? He blamed it on them for bringing it or bringing it in and associating it or introducing it. But why are we still talking about this? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if they showed us that, if they taught us that, why are we still doing it to ourselves?
Do you want me to respond or you just want to play the video?
I mean, it's whatever, bro. You can respond.
What do you mean why we're still talking about it? It's just like, that's no different than them saying, forget about slavery and let's move on. It's the same as don't forget about what we did so we can redo it.
No. He's basically saying, I don't agree with that. That doesn't make sense to me. He's saying we judge ourselves based on skin color and complexion because they introduce it to us. Is that you saying, okay, you putting the blame on them, but then we still doing it? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where's the self-responsibility, personal responsibility, like as you say?
Right. So
you don't have to do that.
But beforehand, what was the separator? You know what I mean? So beforehand, there wasn't an issue of colorism, right? Because it was already the way it was supposed to be, right? We were already dealing with our own kind in a certain kind of way, right? You know what I'm talking about? So that's kind of, I think, what he's saying. Like, yeah, we got to point out that they did it this way for a particular reason, when before that it was this way, and this is the way I'm wanting it to be again.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. All right. That's a good point. I don't have a rebuttal right now.
As well, but again, because as you remember, and it's in the books, and I don't want to say this because I don't want to, but even in the African consciousness, and it shows as we go all the way back to those conversations of when the white man did come on the continent, we looked at them as foreign and inferior.
Oh, absolutely. The white man was traditionally painted as the devil in African culture.
So before
we ever encountered him.
Right. So in that, it was never at some point, and however it happened through the colonization and all of that, this idea of beauty of a lighter complected, a thinner nose, a thinner lip individual was placed on us.
Okay. So you fell victim to that?
I don't think I did. I feel like.
Oh my God, they go victim. He fell victim.
Again, like I said, and it's so complex even in my world because, you know, one of the mothers of my children has a strong, you know, Islam background, and when I say Islam, I'm Muslim from Africa, you know, and those understandings, but she's lighter complected. One would look at her and wouldn't even know, or even in the sense of the
spectrum.
One of the mothers of my children is a dark skin complected, but still can be considered Afro-Latina because so it's
but African Latinas are still African.
100%.
Just a different language.
But even within their infrastructure.
Yes. They have the color hierarchy.
Yeah, they're
introduced by the white.
What you said?
I said he a good person to talk to about this too, because he does have a variety of women, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Supremacy though.
Right. So when I say that, I'm not looking to see, how dark you are, how full your lips are, how wide your nose is.
Let me take it another way.
Right.
When Princess Onyx grows up with her siblings, you're going to have a conversation along with their mothers about colorism.
100%.
As someone who grew up in a home with a dark sister who was darker than me, beautiful, but my older sister was darker.
Right.
I saw how she suffered some of the pangs of colorism within my extended family.
100%.
So when Onyx gets to the age where she begins to recognize race, and Brother Nick Cannon has to have that conversation with her mother and the mothers of your other children and your children, your family. Right. You're going to have this conversation. And when you start explaining to Onyx that your blackness is in no way a sin or a curse, it's a blessing and a power.
Absolutely.
Right? When she reflects back to you.
Her name is Onyx for a reason.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's black power, actually.
Yeah.
But when she reflects back to you as her father and say, well, Dad, if this color is all that great, how did you end up to reproduce so many children with women who are not this color?
That's not a real question.
What would you say to Onyx?
That
has a problem of wanting to.
That's an absolute question.
Listen, she has to be taught that she would have to have been taught that him having all that variety of women is a problem. If she's not taught that, that's not a question a real person would ask.
So he's not saying about it being a problem. He's just saying if my skin color was such a magnificent thing, why aren't you with other women of this color, right? So if you could pick from a gamut of women and you think my skin color is that great, why not stay in this thing? I don't think it's saying
watching. That's dick watching.
No. That's not dick watching from a child asking their parents out, because there's plenty of biracial children asking their parents, why did they pick so and so, or why did y'all stick it out when so much turmoil, or when people were trying to pull y'all together. You can't say that, Frank.
Thank you, Lionel. Agree. He said the same thing. Would that question come up from a child to a parent? That we on the same page. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
it's like,
I think so.
I think for a child to ask that question, they have to have been taught that skin color is a problem, or skin color is something to really prioritize. if you don't teach your children that skin color is a problem, they can't come up with that question because it's not a factor, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So Dr. Umar's already on the page of they're gonna ask you questions about why you're not with darker women, but it's not. You got to see it as a problem first.
But I don't think he wasn't. So I think when he just asked the question, you could run it back and ask the question again right from here. But I think he was saying, just if my skin is so great, why didn't you pick others of the skin color? Right? I don't think he was saying it's a problem not to. Right? Because Nick is going to address why he don't think it's a problem. Right? I don't think he was going to say it's a problem. Right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what he said.
Assortment of flavors.
She reflects back to you.
Her name is Onyx for a reason.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's black power, actually.
Yeah.
But when she reflects back to you as her father and say, well, Dad, if this color is all that great,
right,
how did you end up to reproduce so many children with women who are not this color? What would you say to Onyx?
Didn't say it's a problem.
Dad has a problem of wanting an assortment of flavors.
Get out of here.
Okay, so it's the way Dr. Umar asks questions. Like, he frames questions.
That's your problem. Okay.
No, it's not my fault. I'm listening to his intent. He asks questions and he frames questions to assume or to infer or already stated conclusion or already stated, reasoning. So the way he asks questions to me, I could sense the bullshit behind it. You know what I'm saying? When your daughter's going to have a problem and ask you, and I'm thinking no child would ask a parent that unless they are taught that there's an issue with skin color. That's what I'm saying.
I disagree. I definitely think there's a billion biracial children who ask that question. Why do y'all? And so I guess the question is kind of screwed, right? Because Nick got 12 different kids, right?
He's a perfect person to talk about, yeah.
But I'm saying, like, so if a biracial couple got 3 kids and they're all biracial, that question probably wouldn't come up, right? But now let's say if a biracial couple got 2 kids and the dad got 3 other kids of a majority race or, one particular place, then it may come up. You get what I'm saying?
I guess.
So that's why I see it. That's why
my son is mixed. We don't have, I can imagine, he knows I'm Puerto Rican. He knows his mom is black. And that's pretty much it. It's like, we don't get no deeper than that because it's like we're all human beings. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if you're out there, if you got a mixed family, let us know if it's a problem. Or if that's a question that comes up.
Lionel said, take your story, for example. He met his wife in the 10th grade. She's Filipino, so I'd be like, well, we together early, and I'm her first boyfriend, right? So that's one thing. And then their children aren't going to be like, oh, why you ain't had kids with a black or another race friend, because they've been together for a while. Like I said, in Nick's situation, he got 12 other kids, and only one is going to be super dark. So that's where that question may come out at. You know what I'm saying?
Again, I feel you, but I feel like there'd have to be certain things taught, prerequisites. And the child could get it from outside the home. It don't have to be in his household or with his mom, the baby mom. It could be in school or whatever, and they get this information, and then she'll come and bring that question to him. I could see that. But if I don't see that the information required for a child to ask that coming from him or his baby mom or the parents, you know what I'm saying? That's a societal thing coming in. To me.
But so now here you go. Society has shown and continues to show that darker skinned people aren't treated the same, right? So that's just part of America that we live in and grew up in and, have a history with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but we're talking about interracial. Like for instance, like I have Dr. Umar, he's like, my issue with him is how he dick watches other black men for not getting with women.
He's not dick watching.
But and if you want, you know what I'm saying, if you want to stick to your race, there's no problem with that at all. Like if you Puerto Rican, you want to stick to Puerto Rican, whatever, stick to your race, that's fine. But you can't. For me, it's the judging somebody for dating or marrying outside their race that bothers me, because it's like, why are you all up in their business? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
does he judge him?
I don't know if he ain't judging me. I'm not black. I mean,
no, is he judging Nick? Is he judging Nick? Or
yes. We asking questions about victimization. Oh, you was a victim to this. Oh, you did it. Yes, he's judging the fuck out of Nick. He's judging the fuck. He's sitting there, and then the whole 5-minute intro. Nick basically like I'm in trouble because Dr. Umar's here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know.
Lionel said, "Who dates based off race?" That's the least important factor to me about my spirit and character. When you look for a girl, do you start with race first? He asked, when you're looking for a girl, do you start with a race first?
Did you?
No. I mean, I might
so,
be lying. No.
See what I'm saying?
I didn't start with race first.
Honestly.
I like what I like. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But race is not is not a factor. I'm not judgy. You know what I'm
Would
saying?
you date a white girl? That's the question, Frank. If you weren't married.
I have not. I haven't dated a white girl. I've been with white girls. But I mean,
it's not the same, Nick, Frank.
it doesn't matter though. You know what I'm saying?
He asked the question. You sound like Umar beating around the bush.
Man, let's get to
That's
it.
the truth. I want to taste everything. I want to know what that tastes like. I want to know what that tastes like. And it's just, and if I'm being honest, sitting here, it's just like, and I said I got in trouble, and I apologize because I didn't know it hit him this way. And I apologize again. I was on one of these podcasts and I was outwardly speaking, and I think it kind of came out the wrong way. I was speaking about my brother Travis Scott.
Okay, what happened with Travis?
And it was
Scott?
when because
the situation that happened.
No, he has a child with Kylie Jenner.
Okay,
and I was attempting to take his side and say the statement I made. I said, in Travis dating Kylie, at no point do I think he was attempting to make a cultural statement. And in that, I think it got perceived.
But is ignorance an excuse for irresponsibility?
You asked that question before.
Yes.
I think it was perceived as him saying, but I was actually saying, I do the same thing where I'm doing it for love.
Okay.
I'm not doing it to be right here to say I'm doing it for my community or any of that stuff. I'm doing it because I love this woman. Now, it may be,
and I don't doubt that.
May be ignorant because I'm not thinking about what the community is gonna think. I'm doing it because, man, I fell in love with this woman regardless of her complexion, regardless of her race, regardless of her upbringing.
But do you have an obligation to the community though? You married her because you loved her.
No,
but do you have?
Because I get this all the time. You can't talk black and sleep white. You can't be black in the streets and white in the sheets.
When we look at childhood actors,
yes,
you are the most prominent, successful black childhood actor probably in American history. People think of Nick Cannon. You understand?
Right.
So. To all the beautiful chocolate black girls of the same complexion as your beautiful daughter Onyx, and even those of every other complexion, yours, mine, and so forth, for you to be the king of childhood actors, which means our daughters love you. They talk about you. I heard kids talk about you the other day in positive manner. Do you not feel any guilt at all? For the fact you did not provide them with that wholesome example of showing them how much a black woman deserved to be loved on by not choosing.
Pause it. Guilt. So I wish he would have asked about him just having a family structure or traditional family structure, rather than the type of woman he slept with, right? So yeah, I'm with you, but asking the question kind of wild here.
Mm-hmm. Right, and again. Is Nick a good example? Like, he's not with one woman. He's not married. He doesn't have a nuclear family, right? He has 9 women, 12 children.
12 kids.
And no signs of stopping.
He's successful.
No signs of stopping. He might have more on the way out there.
15 in them hoes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, to ask him if he feels guilt, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like, maybe he's not the right person to ask that question. Yeah. Let's see how he responds.
Choosing one yourself.
So I've got to unpack this in many ways because sitting on a psychologist's couch, yes, I feel guilty.
Okay.
But I feel guilty for multiple things.
And then go in. Let's go. List them.
What I've learned about, there's nothing wrong with guilt. Doesn't mean shame.
I agree with you.
Guilt means accountability.
I agree with you. I totally agree.
And I say that to say, so symbolism, what our community sees, who they hold up high and revere, is all real. So I always talk about equanimity in that sense of where I must be responsible to, if I faltered in this way, I have to make up for it in this way. So I know I am unsuccessful when it comes to relationships.
That's fair.
I have a failed marriage. I've had many failed relationships, and this is all based off of society's measurement and
for the record,
yeah.
I was a little jealous of you when you married Mariah, because I was when I was in college. I mean, this is before y'all time, but when I was in college at Millersville University, Mariah Carey poster was on my wall.
Facts.
When y'all got, I said, "How Nick get?"
Well, hold up. How can he say that?
Don't do it.
Mariah
black, bro. Don't do
I know she's mixed,
Mariah
but she's not dark. She's far from
black,
dark.
Though.
She's mixed.
She's black though.
Isn't he all about?
No, she black, Frank. Look, you know Mariah was fine. Everybody like Mariah.
I know, of course, but I'm saying he's kind of like stepping on his own toes right here.
Get Mariah.
This he said before he got
everybody.
I was in love with.
This before he got King Kong consciousness too.
Okay, this is okay. That's fair.
Mariah, but go ahead.
We young Moroccan just gave you that right there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so
sir.
that is fruits of that.
Yeah.
But in the sense, I say all of this to say that's the reason for this space.
Yes, sir.
Where I believe I gotta be held accountable for certain things, but in that sense, to whether it's my daughter Onyx or my other daughters and the daughters of our community, I am an example whether I want to be one or not. And that's why it's like I don't believe in role models, because roles are things that you play. I'm a real model. I'm a real individual. So therefore, there's going to be a lot of things that happen in my life that everyone's not going to agree with.
And I think you're going to rectify it, because looking into the future, which only God can see, through your daughter Onyx, I think you're going to do some great things with your other children as well.
Right.
But through your daughter Onyx, because of her beautiful, richly melanated, original African complexion, I think y'all going to bring forth some programs, some projects, some organizations, a cartoon, a line of children's books to build black girl self. You understand?
Because one thing I do, and I've had these conversations, one thing I do know with my daughter Onyx, I'm going to have different conversations with her.
Yes, sir. You will. Yes. Yes.
Because of the way that society is set
and you're going to have conversations with them to make sure they remain conscious of their bias when they're relating to their system.
100%.
So he's saying they got a default bias? You got to be taught it.
No, they're going. So what they're admitting is they're going to be taught it. You can't live in this American society without acknowledging what it is, right?
And no, perhaps, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like all of this stuff is not natural. You know what I'm saying? This is all taught. Society's doing this. This is not something that's natural to humans. This is societal, right? And we perpetuate it by saying things like this. You're gonna have to address their bias. Like, why do they have to have a bias? You know how I am. I'm an optimist. Maybe I'm naive. You know what I'm saying? I like to think of the world as getting better and not being, not getting worse. But when you choose language like that, you kind of spelling and you putting shit out there that's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? He's putting shit out there too.
And this is why it's why you can't pick a side standing on the fence. You're still trying to stand on this fence and play.
This is not defense, bro. I'm telling you.
So what I'm saying is, you can't go outside in this society and not see the racial card, the racial biases, the prejudice, right? It's just the way it is. And we don't see it changing no time soon. And by you saying we should just ignore it.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying. Don't address it. Don't bring attention to it. Let's just move in a different manner moving forward.
Yes, right? Move in a different manner. Bring your light into the world. You can change the world.
As if people outside of the world who are committing these atrocities, who are behaving in prejudiced ways, who are being racially biased toward another skin tone, you think they're going to stop behaving in a different way because people are quote unquote ignoring them? I'm going to say this to you. It's like them statues of those Confederate flag people, them slave owners, right? When people was marching to get them shits taken down and get names changed, right? Mm-hmm. I thought that was the craziest things ever. Why? Because their grandchildren are going to get embarrassed about what their grandparents did? No, you should keep that shit up to let people know that these people and their family benefited from being monsters, right? Mm-hmm. These people were the direct beneficiary of atrocities, right? So you don't get to take it down and whitewash it as if it never happened. So that's what I feel like you're doing by saying, hey, let's ignore it.
But that's not I didn't say ignore it. I didn't say ignore it. I'm saying society has these, the Matrix has these like default settings that we're all born into. What I'm saying is you do not have to come into this world and install the default settings. You can fucking install your own settings. Install your own programming.
And I'm black, and I'm gonna let you know that is that bullshit. Because I couldn't allow myself. I couldn't allow my son or my daughter to walk out this house and not understand that there's a whole heap of motherfuckers who would want to take that bottle up their juice and sell it for themselves and discard them where they got it from. You get what I'm saying?
But I'm not saying to not educate them. I'm saying you can be educated, but what you shouldn't do is look at the world in the same way that they do, is what I'm saying.
As who do? No, I'm trying to figure out. What's up? Talk to me.
As you
now it's the other side. Who the other side, Frank?
I'm using your language. The other side.
So being
educated is not. I'm not saying not to be educated. I'm saying install your own program. You don't have to install the Matrix program. You know what I'm saying?
So what would be me? What would be me installing the Matrix program by telling them, be careful of the other side?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that that's installing the pro. I'm saying, I don't know. You got me all twisted up. Being cognizant of danger is not. I'm not saying don't be cognizant of danger. I'm saying don't look at the world in a way that separates people. You know what I'm saying? Like not to judge people. You know what I'm saying? Unless they, not to go out into the world judging people because of something you don't know who they are. You know what I'm saying? Just by looking at them, if I'm making sense. I don't walk in the world. I used to. Years ago, I used to judge motherfuckers all the time. Motherfuckers I don't know from nowhere. I never seen. Don't know shit about them. You know what I'm saying? But I've since grew out of that, I guess, so to speak. So I don't know. That's just me.
But can we judge their actions and their character once we get a chance to be around them? So like,
of course,
if we are somewhere and they do something that history has shown that when people act like this, they think and behave this kind of way. Can we do that?
That's that. Of course, I have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm not saying to ignore injustice or ignore when someone's showing you their true colors. I would never say that. I'm saying don't go out into the world looking for problems, because that's Matrix default settings. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I ain't saying go look for them either, but I am definitely saying be aware that the motherfucking boogeyman don't like you. And the boogeyman will put on 1,000,000 faces. He'll put on 1,000 faces, but be cognizant of that one face, right? Oh, I didn't know, or let me touch your hair, or I said it was a joke. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That shit can get overlooked with, I ain't looking for the beef. I ain't looking for the trouble. You feel me?
No, it's facts. Not for you.
Yeah, let's get about 5 more minutes.
All right, 5 minutes.
And they're, because, again, their mother is probably one of the most beautiful, and I even forget even saying dark skin.
Yes.
But because of her complexion is dark skin, but one of the most beautiful women.
Yeah, I think the chocolate only adds to the beauty.
Yeah, and to be able to be that with that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
you know what I mean? It is so powerful in itself.
Yes,
to be able to walk in the room and be so striking. And
I agree.
And so attractive. And to not look like everyone else, especially today where every woman on Instagram looks exactly the same.
There's nothing more regal, more honorable, more earth-shattering, more attention-grabbing that when a chocolate black woman walks into the room, and I'm going to add natural hair to that because that's my bias, but when a chocolate natural African woman walks into a room full of self confidence and owns it, the whole room bows down. Not literally, but in a metaphorical way, because that right there is God. And what I mean by that, when I say the chocolate African woman is God, she is the original complexion of the first person God put on the planet Earth. And since the black woman is the only woman with the mitochondrial DNA, the Eve gene, and with the chocolate African woman being the most melanated because that's the most original, she is God. And I'm saying that not to deny anyone else their divinity.
We all come from her.
Absolutely. We all come from her. And so it's just so hurtful for me being a psychologist, working in the schools where I see the shame that a lot of our chocolate princesses endure because they've been miseducated against the fact that when you look in the mirror, you shouldn't see something ugly.
Right.
You should see the most beautiful being on earth.
Right.
And as I said, I believe you and your princess, along with your other children, y'all going to bring forth something to help shut down the colorism. Because what you do have, Nick, is you have every complexion in your children.
Absolutely.
I'm saying to you, I'm charging you in the future, because you got a long way to go. Turn that. You understand me? Into a weapon of mass construction to destroy colorism in our community.
I love it. Can I offer this up? I'm sitting on your couch. I'm right here. I need the help in the understanding. And again, by no means is this an excuse, but I want to unpack it. Could it be that my mother, who is of mixed race, and because I was thinking about this when you asked me, am I, have I been programmed or conditioned to go after a certain type of woman? If my mother, who is a lighter skinned mixed woman, if that was my example as a matriarch, and then even in her mother being of another race, and on my father's side, his mother having, as we all know, because, and then as we go down our lineage, we all gonna be mixed with something.
Exactly.
And I know as a, Pan-Africanist, there's an idea of holding on to the diaspora.
Yes, sir.
But the African American, and which is a whole different classification, a black person in America is mixed with everything.
Right.
So for anyone to sit,
but those mixtures does not take away from the fact you're still African.
100%.
Because we're the strongest DNA.
100%. So if people say, again, because you said you got a lot of this ideology because you look and see what you came from your mother.
Yes.
So if I look and my mother looks and has the complexion of a look that is maybe similar to a lot of the mothers of my children. There's been a lot of conversation where they talk about, my mother and Mariah.
It's a big ass setup.
Do they look similar in complexion?
They got 3 episodes.
They look like they cut from the same cloth. You know what I mean? And various, if we're just talking about complexionism, psychologically, would you think that maybe is that more of the reason?
It definitely plays a role. Because I was going to ask you earlier in this conversation, do you feel that your mother or grandmother could have influenced your taste in women? Because our mothers do influence us. Right? Because my mother happens to be my complexion. In fact, I look more like my mother than any of her other 6 children. The mother is the first teacher, as we all know.
And I said, my mother is, light skin, curly hair,
Right. And she's still with us in the flesh.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I were to have a conversation with your queen mother, I would ask her, not only does your son possibly prefer women of your complexion because you are his first example of love. Our first love affair is our mother, right?
Absolutely.
But I would also ask her, is it possible, in addition to you simply being his first love affair, spiritually speaking, did you pass down core beliefs to your son as it relates to women and complexion? In other words, was it purely by example of her existence as your mother? Or were there certain beliefs and messages she gave to you and values based on skin tone? Could she have inadvertently transferred some of her beliefs onto you in terms of white is better or prettier or lighter girls are more?
I don't think that's for him to answer. You gotta get her, because he wouldn't know. He said inadvertently. He wouldn't know if it's inadvertent.
And also, she's like Nick just said, she's probably a lighter skinned woman, so her bias, from society ain't the same as Umar's mom's, right?
Mm-hmm. Not at all. I don't know. Let's see if he has answered the question. Then we're gonna run today.
Yeah, it's my example, because we probably never had that conversation,
right?
But it's just the example of watching what she was assimilating to the idea of what society shows us.
Right.
You know what I mean? As we sit back and talk about where you say you had posters of Mariah on the wall.
I had posters of Mariah.
Mariah and
one
Halle.
of the things I respected about Mariah.
Yeah.
I don't know her whole history.
Yeah.
But one of the things I did respect about Mariah, because what happened is when rest in peace, Whitney Houston kind of receded.
Yeah.
Because I was Whitney.
Yeah.
And Mariah was the closest thing to her. So I went from Whitney to Mariah. But one of the things I respected about Sister Mariah, especially in this atmosphere with so many mixed race African children would rather be called biracial than black.
Yeah.
Mariah told the world, I'm black.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Facts.
Because if she didn't, that poster would have never been up. But that takes me to another question for you.
Yeah.
As you navigate that terrain
with let's cut it before we get into it. You got some takeaways right quick before we cut this one off, because we got how much more? We got 5 more minutes of this show, so I guess we can run it back next.
Than that. I don't. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's 5 minutes left in this video. We could probably finish it up next week.
Next week.
I mean, I don't know, bro. I still think there's an overemphasis. I think Nick's probably not the best person for this.
No.
You know what I mean. And before we got on, I was talking to my wife. She was talking about Obama, Denzel Washington. We were talking about successful black men that marry black. You know what I'm saying? They
LeBron
out
James.
There. Right, they are out there. So I think last week when we was talking about it, it was this thing where it's like every black man goes white. And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm like, that's far. Y'all was. I think I don't know if it was you or Dr. Umar, but y'all was like 99% or almost all. And I was at the time.
He was saying all.
That's not true. But I couldn't name any. But there are so many black men that do marry black.
Thanks to your wife.
You know what I'm saying? No, we was both talking. We both came up with names. I was like, oh, this guy. So it's not. It's not. I guess it's not a. I don't feel like it's a pandemic like being made. A lot of sports people. A lot of rappers, right? But there are other industries, you know what I'm saying, that's not sports, it's not rappers, that do. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you can seek those people out. They're out there. They exist. You know what I mean? So, I don't
know. I'm with you. Yeah, you're right, because there's a lot of people who, like LeBron and them, they do got black wives or whatever, but there's a whole... It's probably a more lopsided percentage, right? So we're going to do maybe a 75-25, right? And that
we gotta do a survey.
Right?
We should do a survey of successful black men.
I ain't dick watch it like that. I don't care if that much. But
okay.
but Lionel did say, he was like, we need to talk about how just because you don't have a black wife don't mean you ain't pro-black, and that's where I disagree. Right? You can't pick a side and stand on the fence. Right? You can't be Candace Owens yelling pro-black, 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 but you ain't got no black friends, dog. That shit sound crazy to me. That shit sound crazy.
She do got black friends, bro. She got black friends.
You can't be pro-black but don't want to produce with a black woman.
So you can't be pro-black and then fall in love with a white person?
No, you cannot.
That bro, I'm flabbergasted because it's
fine.
like, bro, love is love, bro. Love don't care about color. You can fall in love with anybody. Look, Lionel said it too. That's crazy. Love is love.
That's
bro.
crazy.
Love.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Love is love.
You know, you can have a preference.
You have a preference, but the other person is not going to be able to relate to your understandings, your struggle. The other person is not going to have that same kind of passion you got for the growth or reconstruction of, or education of, right? Yeah, maybe 1% of them, right? A lot of abolitionists were whites because they was sick of them white people doing atrocities. And like, man, y'all niggas is gross. You dig? But for the most part, I don't think, and I ain't nobody. I'm just little old me. You know what I mean? But you can't pick a side, stand on the fence. That's my phrase for this right here.
All right, we'll continue this next week. We appreciate you guys watching. Let me see, Lana. That's just your wife, though. Isn't there so much more to being pro-black than the skin of your wife? I agree. And we're on the same page, me and Lionel. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you could be pro anything, right? But then to be judged based on who you love, I think we get into muddy waters when people are basing judgment on you for somebody that you love. You know what I'm saying? And they can say the same thing about, you know, because it sounds like with homosexuals and gay, like you judge someone because they love guys. Or if you're a guy and you love a guy and you judge, it's almost the same thing. It's like who is anybody to tell anyone else who they should be with? You know what I'm saying? And then judge them for that. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem. You gay, be gay, right?
But there's other
issues around
a gay man being pro-straight it's a contradiction. Is it not? Is it not, Frank? You tell me you got a man that's taking meat in the butt, but he yelling. You know what I'm talking about? But he yelling. Protect the boys. Keep the boys straight. Boys gonna marry a girl. It's a direct contradiction.
I think a gay man can be pro-family, can be pro leave the kids alone, can be anti-pedophile.
Pro leave the kids alone, anti-pedophile is not pro-straight, is not pro-family. Because he can't create his own family.
I don't know, we muddy in the waters. We might got to retouch on this next week. We muddying the fuck out of these waters right now. What do you say? Lana said we can still build schools and programs, feed the homeless so much of our black people despite who our wife is. Yeah, he's saying there's still work to be done despite your, like you could have all those programs.
There is work to be done, but the struggle and the education that's going to be needed to educate them properly is going to be muddied water, right? It's going to be lopsided. It's going to be skewed. It's going to be tainted, right? Because you're not going to be wanting to show them the actual truth on some of the colorism things that's going on because you have a bias toward it because you've decided to not do that. It's kind of like a man. It's like a man talking about kids and he ain't got none. You know what I'm talking about? That shit weird to me. Let's get out of here, Frank.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Tim, imagine there's everything. If you pro-black and black people being someone other than a black person, hard for me to understand. I'm with you, Brody. We'll come back next week, Tim. We'll
back next week.
The conversation, bro.
Like, share, subscribe. Yeah. Thank you guys. We appreciate y'all.
Got me sweating in this bitch.
We see y'all next week, y'all. Peace out. Thanks.